The start to what's supposed to be a little warmer week around here, and hopefully we get rid of the last of our canola this week as well. The very first thing I think we might need to do is maybe get the steers another bale, because it looks like their bale is out and they're kind of trying to find some grass over on the hill there. Usually I always like to plug the tractor in before I fire it up on a colder day, because it is about 27 out right now. However, it's supposed to get hot out today, and there's a pretty good chance our yard is going to become a giant puddle, so I do kind of want to get this done very first thing. I guess we'll see how unhappy this thing is cold starting. Not a problem. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of surprised it started that well. Usually this thing does not do very well in the cold. I wanted to get this thing started up and moved and then check a few things on it. However, we're going to have a little issue, I think, just from looking at this. I think we might have a problem with our tires being very, very frozen down, especially like that one. That is not going to make things nice and simple. So even if we do get it started, there's a very, very good chance that this thing is not going to be moving at all. And I just plugged this thing in last night, so I didn't really see how much ice there was or anything, because it was kind of pitch black out when I plugged it in. We'll see if we can get it to start, though. Well, it didn't start, and there's a bunch of mouse poop inside the cab, so what a great way to start the week off. And since we're kind of waiting for it to warm up, I figured I'd just kind of charge the batteries on this truck a little bit. However, we're getting some kind of error code on this thing, so I'm actually going to check the voltage, see how much power we got. So I just checked our main power, and we do have 120 volts, so it should be okay on that end, which means it must just be our little battery charger having an issue. And I think the problem with this thing is it's just kind of a piece. It's pretty bad when the charger that got slightly ran over by the tractor works better than the brand new one here. But we'll let the #1 battery charger on the farm here just kind of keep doing its thing. All right, we're gonna see if the old Freightliner fires up here now after lunch. Almost wants it. There we go. It's alive. Not too bad. We got the truck started, and it even moved out of the little frozen ice spots. You can see it was definitely kind of stuck down there in place, but it must have melted just enough we were able to actually move it. I figured since we haven't had the tarp off of this truck in like 2 months, I better make sure the canola didn't have any water in it. But doesn't smell rotten or anything, so I'm assuming it's all gonna be okay. We got most things ready to go on the old freight shaker here. We still have to check tires and a couple other things. But the next thing we gotta do is just kind of wait for the road to dry out. So right now it is super muddy. You guys can probably see we got some giant water puddles and then still ice in the yard here. And our road is just kind of mucked right now. But it'll be good to get rid of that last little bit of canola. Things are melting off out here again today. However, I already found a little problem on our truck here. So I was checking all the tires and some other things this morning, and I found a little issue. which is our airbag is broken on the bottom here. So thankfully I actually kept our old airbags, because if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you know I replaced all of these airbags actually during harvest. So we're gonna get this guy pulled off and put one of the old ones back on here. We got our nuts pulled off the top and the bottom, and we've got our airline disconnected, so now we just gotta get this thing jacked up and pulled out of here. Got that airbag pulled off, and yeah, you can see it just cracked out. So we changed this during harvest, so not that long ago, but luckily we did keep the old one, so I'm just transferring this fitting over to this one. We'll slap this guy back on there. But all it takes is one piece of gravel to hit this thing wrong and just shatter that. So it's kind of the fun of living on the gravel roads here. Then especially during the winter when things are cold, especially cold plastic and stuff, it just shatters pretty easily. Now all we need to do is throw the airbag up in this little spot. This job was a lot easier during harvest time when A, the ground was dried out so we weren't in a mud hole, and we didn't have a loaded truck, because yeah, right now we got the canola on there. So yeah, the first time I just used this thing and jacked it up and it was pretty simple, but now I needed the bigger jack to actually get this thing lifted up to get the bag in and out. Just need to get the airline hooked up and we should be good again. But this is the reason why we keep all of our old parts if they're still in semi-good condition. And that old one's still holding there, so now we are roadworthy again. Looking like a good morning to get rid of the last of that canola, so let's hit the road. We're gonna be using a little more head cam footage, and sorry for the kind of little leaking air noise. This thing actually leaks air when it's cold outside, so that's why it's making all that noise right now. I'm hoping this is gonna be the muddiest part of the road today, and this is always usually a little bit wetter than everything else just because we have these carragana bushes here, so they actually hold the snow in a little bit more and just kind of keep things to be a little bit more wet on this little chunk of the road here, just because those carraganas block the wind from everything. All right, here we are. We're gonna drop into the cottonwood here. And usually this is a little bit more interesting in like a fully loaded semi or anything like that. But since we only have a partial load on here today, it's not bad at all, so. Yeah, usually I just run the Jake brake down on this part of the hill when we're kind of running straight here. But yeah, like I said, since we have such a light load right now, it's not bad at all, so we're just gonna actually let the truck kind of run down the hill here. And then sometimes if I have a full load in this truck, I actually like to switch our transmission over to manual, and then I just use this guy to switch it, and actually I think I'm going to anyway here. I'll just let it run up this here. Coming behind us there too. It's kind of the fun thing with that, just because it kind of loops around like that, there's actually one little blind spot in there, you can't really see anything. And hopefully we got some pretty decent footage in there too. Switch this thing back over to auto. And off we go again. yet again here. Just gonna run the Jake, cruising down the hill here. You wouldn't want to go down one of these little side hills here. You would not have a very good time. Say it's a pretty big elevation drop. And this is the lake that my dad irrigates out of too, so hopefully this spring we'll be able to get some footage when we're putting the pumps in there. However, the lake is definitely very frozen right now. A couple people got their ice fishing huts out here too. Not a lot. So yep, so this is where my dad irrigates out of on the right hand side here, and then downriver a long ways is where we irrigate out of the river. But like I said, it's gonna be a little bit before we're doing any irrigating just because things are frozen right now. Nasty washboards right here, holy cow. Oh, that's nice. Like the Bureau's moving a bunch of riprap and gravel there. See, hear all the rocks tinging off my truck back there. I just got that big old cat excavator moving stuff. But we still got a long ways to go. We're not even close to halfway there yet, so. And this little chunk of the road is extremely rough. But after bouncing across the gravel for about 45 minutes, we have finally made it to the highway here, so. Gonna be kind of nice to speed things up and go highway speeds here. Little bit smoother. And I don't have to worry about any mud holes either. That's kind of nice too. Our 0 to 60 time's a little bit quicker today too, just because yeah, we don't have a ton of canola sitting on the truck here. I think I might need a new door seal in here too, because man, this thing is just leaking like a sieve right now. I'm almost wondering if that's how the mouse got in here too, is maybe squeezed between the door and the frame. But it does smell a lot better in here. I cleaned all the mouse poop out and we bleached everything down, so all clean again, hopefully. Just about there. However, it looks like they're moving an Airseeder cultivator or something up here, so we're gonna have to go real slow on this last part. Yeah, it looks like a New Holland Airseeder there. And then this is actually the elevator we're going to. So yeah, it's just a little tiny kind of specialty elevator that we're hauling to today. Make sure this guy ain't like flying down this hill here. There we go. We even stayed out of the guy's way too. It's always fun moving big equipment like that. But we're gonna shut the camera off, get this thing unloaded, and hopefully make it back home before lunchtime type of thing. Also, yeah, these guys kind of have the same tractor that we do too. We got the wind in our back now, so now our door's not making a ton of noise. And this thing's not leaking because it's warm enough inside the truck now. So it's actually pretty quiet in here. And it's kind of tough to see out there, but it looks like it's almost snowing or raining or something kind of over at home that way. And the wind keeps getting kind of nastier and nastier. And now we actually have a little snow coming down too. So I don't know if you guys can actually see that flying across the view here, but yeah, just a little tiny bit of snow coming down. And we woke up to a little bit more snow on the ground this morning, and we're gonna be on the road again today, but this time in the pickup, and we're gonna be heading to Great Falls for a little service school. And these service schools are good not just for learning about some of the things you need to check, but they also go over some of the new technology as well too. So it's always kind of cool catching up on all the new stuff that's happening. Kind of another slower end to the week around here. However, we're still waiting on our oil from John Deere. My uncle actually talked to him last week and they said, oh yeah, we'll be out there, no problem, get everything filled up. Then my uncle called him again this morning and they said, oh yeah, we're missing some type of document. So the truck never actually left and went anywhere. So now they said next week again we might have oil. And that's literally the only thing we're waiting for is oil, so we can actually change the oil in this tractor here. So I guess we'll wait on RDO John Deere again and see if we have a little bit of some oil next week. So one more thing for today anyways, I gotta run to town and I figured I'd show you guys one of my dad's other side businesses. I've talked about it in some of the live streams before, but not really in any of the videos. But even with some of the bigger farms around here, if you do want to make some pretty good money, the only way to really do that is if you have a second job. So that's why my dad has like 3 different businesses along with farming. This is kind of my dad's second little side business, is our little car wash here. Come out, little bird. So allegedly, somewhere in here we got a bird. So if you guys are ever in the area, you can stop by and get your car washed and help support our farm.